The minhaj of the ulama of the Salaf is that they would normally try to give evidences, number one, textually and rationally. These are two evidences that cannot be miscredited. Are textual evidences and rational evidences. And this is the beauty of Islam, is that everything in Islam can give you these two things. Not only can it textually give you the evidence, it can rationally give you the evidence. Nobody else can do this, let me assure you. Nobody else can do this. And most of the time, the rational evidence is rubbish, and there is none, and the textual evidence cannot hold up. The textual evidence for this in the Bible, for the reason why sin nature cannot, this understanding of sin nature, because if you can destroy this understanding of sin nature being inherited, you have basically kicked the stool out from under everything. Because you will see that this is the process that leads all the way to Jesus' crucifixion, is this sin nature. Without this sin nature being inherited by human beings, Jesus Christ's sacrifice means nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And where is it at? It is actually in the book of Ezekiel, because this one might be a little bit harder for you to find. So I'll give you this one. It's in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 18, verse 20. Ezekiel is E-Z-I-E-K-I-E-L, or E-L at the end. No, yeah, E-L at the end, just E-L. E-Z-I-E-K-E-L, Ezekiel, chapter 18, verse 20. And it says this. It says, the soul that sinneth shall die. The soul that sins shall die. And the Son shall not bear the iniquities of the Father, nor shall the Father bear the iniquities of the Son. But the righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon them. This is a teaching of the law of Moses, that each and every individual is responsible for their own actions. This is a basic underlying principle of the Old Testament. Nowhere will you find that anyone can bear anyone else's sin, nor can anyone else pass forgiveness for another's sin. It has to be done and initiated by the person. And this is what God teaches in Ezekiel, that the Son cannot bear the iniquities of the Father, nor can the Father bear the iniquities of the Son. The righteousness of the righteous is upon him. The wickedness of the wicked is upon them. And yes, some Christians may say, but you're pulling one verse out of context, and they'll tell you that a lot, that you're pulling a verse out of context. And then I tell them, well, then the burden of proof to prove me wrong is on you. Yeah? If I'm wrong, prove it. The burden of proof is now upon you. I've given you my proof. Prove me that I've taken it out of context. And this is hard to do in a lot of cases. That's why what I tried to give you, God willing. And we're going to get to why this eradicates the whole issue that Jesus could have been crucified right here in a couple of verses that you can find in the Old Testament. There's so many, but to give you too many is just too much information. So this is the reason why the Christians believe that the prophets could be so sinful, was because of the simple fact of the inherent sin nature, which God does not teach. So that's the textual proof. And there are many more. Do that. What I would like for you all to do, if you want to be able to deal with Christians, I don't want to say give this too much emphasis, because there's so much you can learn about Islam. And this is one thing that I will say, is that I have mixed feelings. I do it because of the simple fact that I came from Christianity, and I understand the psychology, and I feel a responsibility to go to Christians. But for the normal Muslim, there's so much in your deen that is perfect, that to tell you to go study imperfections is almost, it's hard for me to make that come out of my mouth. Because the Sahaba radiallahu anhum were scholars of no religion other than Islam, but when they went to the kings of the earth, they were very easily to tell them that we have come to bring you from the injustice of false religions to the justice of Islam. Their understanding was that if it wasn't Islam, it's wrong. And that should be the basic underlying principle of the Muslim. But if you do want to be effective in dealing with Christians, and you decide you want to do that, then some time will need to be spent on having to do it the right way. But I leave that up to you. I would never be the person to say, sit here and study the Bible, because I just can't do it. I just can't do it, because even there's hadith of our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he said to Umar ibn al-Khattab when he was reading the Torah, he told him, why are you messing with this when you have the Quran? So I'm just telling you that this is my background. It's not like I have to go study it. This is just the background that I came from. But at the same time, we are in a world we have to deal with Christians, and they are a big threat to us in our ideologies, and that is where the clash takes place. And this was something that was not so much prevalent at the time of the Sahaba. They weren't really so much at direct conflict with the Jew or with the Christian. They were even more in direct conflict than with Jews at the point as a wholesale, and the pagans than they were with direct conflict with Christians. So there is some wisdom behind both sides. So now that's the textual proof. The rational proof to me, and this is what I told to the people who gave me this evidence, is that what you're saying makes no sense. Because people who commit these type of sins lose their credibility. As I say, no one will listen to them. You would not vote this person as town mayor. You would not vote this person as town mayor. If Lot was caught for what he was doing, he would go to jail, maybe for the rest of his life. If David was caught, he's definitely going to jail, and he's going to be put to death. So their credibility is shot. And also, I told them, this is another logical evidence, is let's say you take this water right here, and you need to pour it through something, because this is how God's message comes to us. It comes through a conduit, because God does not directly deal with human beings. He does not directly come to us. So he deals with us through conduits and through messengers. If you take this clean water, which is God's message, and you pour it through a pipe that is dirty, at the other end, what's going to come out? Dirty water. You're going to get dirty water out of the other end. Because the whole process from beginning to end of God delivering us His message has to be as pure as the message itself. Or else there is room to discredit it. There is room to discredit it. If the vessel is dirty, I can say, look man, this water, this is dirty water. I don't want to drink it. And to me, honestly, this was the beauty of Islam for me. Because I had studied and drank all the dirty water. I had tasted it, and it's nasty, trust me. But when I tasted Islam, it was like drinking this. And I don't care how many times you try to give me those glasses and shuffle them, blindfold me if you want. Every time I pick up this glass, I'm going to know it. This is how clear Islam was to me, and how clear Islam is when you put it against the evidences and weigh it against everything else that's out there. So this is the rational evidence that you can give to them, that God is perfect, His religion is perfect, therefore the medium to give it to us should be perfect, or there's a corruption in the system. And there is no corruption from God. He is not the author of confusion. He is not the author of injustice, not to anyone nor to Himself. So this is dealing with the Old Testament of why these prophets cannot be. If I went into the contradictions of the Old Testament, we would be here forever. Wallahi, we'd be here forever. And I think there has been books that have been written that I'm going to give you some of them that do this justice. I would say you can go read Ahmadiyyah's book. He gives you a lot of them. The only thing is make sure you go back them up with Christian scholars, because if not, again, your isnad is messed up. No one's going to believe Ahmadiyyah even if he speaks the truth. No one's going to believe me even if I speak the truth. That's why I rather quote from the scholars themselves, from what they've said from Christianity.
يا من يرى يا من يرى مد البعوض جناحها في ظلمة الليل البهيم الأليل. يا من يرى ويرى مناق عروقها في نحرها والمخ من تلك العظام النحل.